LeBron James has, again, you can tell, not raised by a father, doesn't, and I'm telling you, if he had given him a job at Uninterrupted, if he had given him a job at Clutch Sports, zero problem. Giving him a job in the NBA when the guy is clearly unqualified, this is classic nepotism.
He has the Bugatti engine, but he wants to drive the speed limit. He don't want a ticket. I don't want a ticket, right? That's how he uses his body.
From the moment Bronny entered the NBA, everyone knew this wasn't going to be a normal rookie story. This was tied directly to LeBron James and his long-standing dream of playing alongside his son. And on the surface, it's a beautiful story, a once-in-a-lifetime moment, something that feels bigger than basketball. But the NBA isn't built on moments alone. It's built on performance, results, and accountability. And that's where things start to get complicated. How did you feel about the tweet that LeBron sent out? Bronny was better than some current NBA guys. We do got a lot of sorry in our laughter league. I'll be honest. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Bronny didn't just enter the league with expectations. He entered with a narrative already written for him. Before he even stepped on the court, people had already decided what this meant. Some saw it as historic. Others saw it as favoritism. And once those labels stick, it becomes almost impossible for a young player to escape them. Imagine you being LeBron. Imagine you being Bronny. And you go to play NBA 2K and you get to play with you and your son, all sitting there playing against each other. That's so dope. And some people are upset about it. We're not normally in a position to even create nepotism. So finally, somebody that looks like us from our community is in a situation. And the criticism hasn't been quiet either. Analysts, former players, and media personalities have all weighed in, and some of the takes have been brutal. Jason Whitlock didn't hold back at all. He openly questioned the entire situation, calling it a clear example of nepotism and suggesting that Bronny's path to the NBA was heavily influenced by his last name rather than pure basketball merit. And when someone like Whitlock says that, you already know it's going to spark debate. The problem with Bronny's game is he's not aggressive. And when you're not looking to score, it becomes a problem. A problem. When you're looking to make passes, you miss everything. Then you've got voices like Stephen A. Smith, who took a slightly different angle but still raised concerns. He didn't necessarily attack Bronny personally, but he made it clear that the expectations and spotlight being placed on him were unfair and potentially harmful. He basically said, this kid is being thrown into a situation where the pressure is not normal, and that could backfire if things don't go right early. And it didn't stop there. Skip Bis also chimed in as expected and leaned heavily into the narrative that this move was more about LeBron's influence than basketball logic. He questioned whether the Lakers were truly making a competitive decision or simply catering to one of the greatest players in history. And when multiple big voices start aligning on the same concern, it becomes impossible to ignore. Does Bronny James Jr. have to be successful in order for this to still be a great start? I want to see him be successful just because I know how people might use that against LeBron in the future. But I don't think you can even use it against him. The fact that LeBron has put himself in a position where he has so much power that he can get Bronny James in the NBA. This is where it gets dangerous because once these narratives start spreading, they don't just stay on TV shows or social media. They become part of how fans view every single game. Every time Bronny steps on the court, people aren't just watching him play, they're evaluating whether those criticisms were right. At the same time, there are people defending Bronny just as strongly. Former players and some analysts have pointed out that he has real potential, especially defensively, and that he deserves time to develop like any other young player. They argue that while his name may have opened doors, staying in the league will depend entirely on his performance. Whirlwind lasts 24 hours. Ken, do you have any issue with the Lakers taking LeBron with the 55th overall pick? Now, I got problem with the people that act like nepotism hasn't been going on before Bronny James got picked. But even those defending him admit something important. This situation is different because no other rookie is dealing with this level of scrutiny from day one. No other player has their minutes, their stats, and their opportunities dissected through the lens of their family name. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They try to prove everyone wrong too quickly. They force shots, overplay, and try to silence critics instead of focusing on steady growth. And when that happens, development suffers, confidence starts to drop, and the game begins to feel overwhelming. I went back and watched some of the first take stuff that led up to that, and to see why LeBron reacted the way he did, and Stephen seemed to be going extremely hard on the kid. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, no matter if you think he belong in the NBA or not, you think it's nepotism or whatever you think it is, right? They want to say Bronny this, he don't belong. He don't belong. And for Bronny, that challenge is even bigger because he's not just competing with other rookies. He's competing with expectations that are completely unrealistic. People aren't comparing him to other young players. They're comparing him to LeBron. And that's an impossible standard for anyone. Now, let's talk about the Lakers because this isn't just about one player. This is about an organization and how its decisions are being perceived. The Lakers are supposed to be chasing championships. Every roster spot matters. Every minute matters. And when a decision like this is made, it naturally raises questions. Here's the part nobody is talking about. The Lakers might be stuck between two timelines. On one side, they're trying to maximize the final years of LeBron's career. On the other side, they're trying to build something for the future. And bringing Bronny into that mix complicates both goals. His game is passive all the way around. Everything is secondary to him. And it's just this awkward thing. When he's supposed to shoot it, he passes. When he's supposed to pass it, he shoots. Because what happens if Bronny isn't ready to contribute at a high level right now? Do you give him minutes anyway? Do you prioritize development over winning? Or do you limit his role and risk slowing his growth? There's no easy answer. And that's exactly why this situation feels so tense. This is where it gets dangerous. Because if the team struggles, this decision becomes the center of every conversation. Analysts like Whitlock and BIS will double down. Critics will get louder and suddenly what was supposed to be a historic moment turns into a constant distraction. And you can already see hints of that happening. Every game becomes a talking point. Every stat line becomes a headline, and every mistake gets amplified in a way that most rookies never have to deal with. What's your take on Bronny? Analysts like Whitlock and BIS will double down. Critics will get louder, and suddenly what was supposed to be a historic moment turns into a constant distraction. And you can already see hints of that happening. Every game becomes a talking point. Every stat line becomes a headline, and every mistake gets amplified in a way that most rookies never have to deal with. What's your take on Bronny? Do you think that he belongs on the Lakers, or do you think that he just belongs to G League? No. I said it from the beginning. You got to put everything in totality, right? You can't just say, okay, Bronny, he averaged 4. What is his attributes? 6 feet 2 inches, 42 in vertical, strong, fast, tricks, can dribble, can shoot the ball, right? So you're 19 at these picks. Who is the best option? 24-year-old who's 24, right? I'm comparing you to a 19-year-old, right? So if I rewind you at 19, where were you? You wasn't trying to get into the NBA. You evaluate who has the upside here. Meanwhile, around the league, other teams are making moves purely based on performance and fit. They're not dealing with this level of narrative pressure. And that contrast only makes the Lakers' situation stand out even more. But again, this isn't just about criticism. There's also a human side to this story that people sometimes forget. This is a father and son sharing a dream that's real, that's emotional, and it's something that goes beyond basketball. The problem is the NBA doesn't operate on emotion. It operates on results. And that's where the tension comes from. Because as much as fans appreciate the story, they also expect the team to win. Here's the part nobody is talking about. This situation could define Bronny's entire career before it even really starts. If he struggles early, the narrative becomes that he was only there because of his father. If he succeeds, people might still question whether he was given opportunities others wouldn't have received. And that's the real cost of nepotism. It's not just about getting an opportunity. It's about the doubt that comes with it. Doubt from fans, doubt from analysts, and sometimes even doubt from within. Now, let's bring it back to LeBron because his role in this is massive. He's earned the right to have influence. He's one of the greatest players ever. But with that influence comes scrutiny. And when that influence appears to shape roster decisions, it changes how everything is viewed. Some people see this as a legendary moment. Others see it as a risky move that could impact the team's competitiveness. And both sides have valid arguments. This is where it gets dangerous because if the Lakers don't succeed, this decision will be remembered differently. It won't be seen as a feel-good story. It'll be seen as a turning point that didn't work. So now, we're left with the real question. Is this helping or hurting? Is Bronny being given the best environment to develop? Or is he being placed in a situation where the pressure is too much too soon? Are the Lakers building towards success? Or are they balancing priorities in a way that could backfire? Because right now, it feels like we're watching something unfold in real time, a situation where legacy, criticism, and expectation are all colliding. And depending on how this plays out, this could either become one of the most inspiring stories in NBA history or one of the most controversial experiments we've ever seen. And that's why everyone from Whitlock to Stephen A. to fans online is watching so closely. Because no matter which side you're on, one thing is clear. This isn't just basketball anymore.